Today's education news. The Education Secretary calls for more male teachers to help boys reject toxic online influences. Bridget Phillipson saying that the behaviour and development of boys is the defining issue of our time. Toxic online influence is on the rise. Our boys need strong, positive male role models to look up to at home, of course, and at school. Schools can't solve these problems alone, and responsibility starts at home with parents. Absolutely spot on. But here are the current stats. 1 in 4 teachers in our schools are men. Just 1 in 7 in nursery and primary, 1 in 33 in early years. Since 2010, the number of teachers has increased by 28,000, but just 533 of those are men, which is extraordinary. It is. So the EdSec wants more male teachers to be teaching, guiding, leading the boys in their classrooms. And of course, I want more teachers across the board as part of our plan for change. Which for me is so much more important. But listen, I've been a teacher now for nearly 20 years. I know you can't believe it, can you, with this youthful complexion, but I have. Now, when I was at uni, I think on my course, I did primary education, 4-year BA honours degree. On that course I did, I think there must have been 150, 200 people, and honestly, no more than 15 were men. I think only half of those men actually qualified by the end of the course. So look, this issue of wanting more men in education isn't anything new. It's been around since I started teaching. And the issues that were stopping more men coming into teaching back then are still really, I think, the issues stopping men coming into teaching now. Teacher salaries, pay will be an issue, and how that stagnated massively over the past few years. That's not going to help. I think the perceived lack of prestige with teaching now, how it was once a job respected, people looked up to teachers, that has just been completely eroded away thanks to the previous government and the knock-on impact that's then had on the media and society to just treat teachers with absolutely no respect, and it being seen as a real sort of low status type job now. It goes without saying that the high stress, high workload of teaching isn't going to encourage more men to come into the job. I do think there are still some issues around gender stereotyping which will discourage some men coming into the profession, especially when we look at sort of early years and primary. But don't get me wrong, I've had it in the past where parents have said to me, I really hope my child's in your class next year. Now, I think it's because I'm such an amazing teacher. And they go, oh no, it's because my child needs a positive male role model. And that really winds me up, because I think what children need more than anything is a role model. And I don't think gender should be the most important aspect of that. And I sometimes feel that then diminishes and takes away from just the incredible job my female colleagues do. Now, I know there's some incredible male teachers out there. One of the reasons I went into teaching was because I had this teacher at secondary school who was incredible, had a real impact on me. So I agree with what the EdSec's saying, that, you know, you will want to be what you see. So representation is really, really important. But I've also seen some not so great teachers. I remember years ago we had 2 students, one of them, female, amazing. If we had had a job at our school, she would have got it. She was incredible. And then there was this male student, and he would never have got a job at our place. He barely survived the placement. But out of the 2 of them, who got a job first? For me, I'd never want to think that men would get any preferential treatment just because we're the minority within the world of teaching. And ultimately, I think the most important line of this whole article is that one about just getting more teachers, more people in the profession. We've got thousands leaving every single year. So if we really want to have a positive impact on as many children's education, giving them the level of education they deserve, what we need to address are the issues that are forcing so many teachers to leave the profession. This story has come off the back of the whole reaction to the brilliant Netflix show Adolescence. I thought that show was incredible and has started so many important discussions, things I've been talking about on my training for ages. If you think one of the main ways in which we address the issues highlighted in Adolescence is to get more men into teaching, it's not going to solve it. Don't get me wrong, it'll certainly help, but there are so many more pressing things that should be happening to sort the issues highlighted in the show Adolescence. For example, ban social media for under 16s. It's blatantly obvious that's what needs to happen, but it seems we want to talk about doing everything other than actually addressing the issue of either stopping children getting on these platforms and accessing this harmful content, or investing in giving help and support for parents to limit the amount of screen time, or just investing in other things that can give these young men a sense of belonging. I think back to when I started teaching and the amount of investment that was going into school sport, the amount of opportunities that were given to young people to explore different sports, different activities. They weren't just spending hours a day on a device in their bedroom. Though the Prime Minister has made the show available for all secondary schools, and I just think, what? Why? The show wasn't aimed at children. Most of the show is young students trying to explain to grown-ups the reality of what's going on in their world. So these kids already know all this stuff because they live in that world. The show was aimed at parents to open our eyes to see the realities of what some children are going through, and hopefully open up discussions and maybe make some parents take a bit more accountability to check and see what their children are accessing when they're on devices at home. There are already stories being shared in schools about gang violence, knife crime, underage love. Romeo and Juliet, for one. So in conclusion, I completely agree with this. I would more than welcome more men into the profession, but a more pressing matter in the world of education is just getting enough people in the profession, staying in the profession, so we can provide the best possible education for our students. When it comes to addressing the issue of toxic online influences, again, I agree that more male teachers would help, but it's not going to be the solution. There are so many more pressing matters as far as educating parents on not giving children devices and actually just putting a ban on social media for under 16s. It's so blatantly obvious. Why can't we just do that?